Test. All right, roll call of school board members. Everyone's here except for Perkowitz. We have a quorum, so we'll keep going. 4.0 is to approve the agenda and I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion on the agenda? All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 5.0 is communication reports, and we'll start with the finance update.
Well, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Right, not too much new again to report. We're at that time of the year where things kind of stay level. Just a note on the budget to actual report, we're looking at the revenues on the first page. For our state revenues, we're working really hard to maximize those revenue sources, make sure that we are getting everything that we're entitled to. So we have been going through that in depth, and we will continue to do that over the next couple months until the end of the year, actually. So
Is there any worry about that?
no, not too much. We're not gonna go down. It's
Yeah.
more, we want to just make sure we're getting everything
Yeah.
that we're entitled to. And then we'll also look at that a little bit more later on in the meeting regarding our next year's budget. But then same section, we're gonna look at the local and other, that the big difference there is we've exceeded the projected revenue, and that's partially because that's where all of our donations sit, and they are not necessarily a budgeted line item. So we've been very blessed that way this year. That's all I had on that page. Any questions there? Second page, we are moving along in the right direction there as well. Nothing new to report. Any questions there? And then finally, the treasurer's report. As always, look at this very closely, monitor very closely each month where we stand. We are down. It's not an unknown fact. We're about sitting right around the 1.2, which is very much in correlation of where we are going to be sitting at the end of the year. So it's nice to know that, well, I shouldn't say nice to know, but like that it hasn't fluctuated either direction.
Sure.
So, but that's all I had to report.
Any questions for Carla? Thank you.
Thank you.
5.2 is administration and department head reports, and we'll start with Superintendent Grover.
Okay, again, as always, no specific order. Keeping you in the loop as far as Nexus, had their first community task force meeting on last Wednesday. It was a good meeting, good show up. It went a lot longer than projected. It went almost 4 hours. I was there. I had to go to the cities. I left about 7:30. Sierra and Melissa continued on. And Rob and I have talked. I mean, it's one thing to go an extra 15 minutes, half hour. I mean, to me, it should have been cut at some point going, hey, we appreciate the conversation. It was good conversation. They did a tour at the end that I've heard a lot of good things about, explaining there isn't much room. And again, it was a good meeting. I've gotten out a lot of, but I just went, if we have to have an extra meeting, we have an extra meeting.
Sure.
But again, we have our, what they say, second and final one on the 8th. So again, hope for good participation. They will go through the survey, which will then also be coming to the board. It's the closing of the community survey, I think, is today. So I don't have a timeline exactly, but I know it'll be available by then. They now take, and they'll give it some time because mail, like they'll take for about a week if ballots are still coming to make sure they get everything. I think we were pushing close to 500 responses. And again, I don't know what percent that is. I don't have a number of how many, possible for the district. So anyway, I'll keep you in the loop when that's coming, but moving along. Just wanted to highlight, we're going to be down 2 bus positions if we're not already there. We have one person going back to work sooner than normal. And then we have one resignation. So Cody's working very diligently to reduce a bus route. We'd kind of gone down this route this fall or early winter on trying to figure out a way to do it. It's going to raise some of the loads, if that's what you want to call it, but we just can't operate with 2 down the rest of the year. And then you start having someone that's out and we can't get a sub or whatever. So we'll keep you in the loop before it happens. We'll obviously you know, PR'd. It's not gonna affect every route or whatever, but I don't have another option as long as we can make it work. So just throwing that out there. And then, we will talk more about the budget in the near future, you know, as the night goes on, and that's the last piece that I think I'll leave that for then. If that works.
Any committee reports?
No, no.
Okay. 6.0 is to approve the consent agenda, so I'll move to approve.
Okay.
Good. Any questions or discussion on the consent agenda? Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 7.0 is for citizens to speak, and I don't see any. So 8.0 is district business. 8.1 is to approve fiscal year 27 budget as presented and attached in board book. So we'll take a motion in a second and then we'll discuss.
Yep.
A second.
All right, let's discuss.
Okay, so if you're looking at what's in the on the board agenda, again, for the most part, very similar to what you saw there. Again, have been some adjustments and will continue to be some adjustments. The corresponding sheet that goes with it is trying to do, and we did this last year to give kind of a little background of what's in, what's maybe not in type deal. Going to be very honest, it's being built on 1,904 kids, exactly where we're at right now. And again, a little bit behind that, I mean, it'd be easy to drop at 10, 15. I guess I'm going to hope and pray we stay where we're at. Now, the group going out is 140 kids graduating. The group coming in, obviously, we don't know exactly what our kindergarten is, but that would be 120 kids plus our super K, which is rough. Well, it's 18 right this year. So we think the 140 is a legitimate number. Okay. But I just want the group to know it's not, you know, the safe would be to drop it to 20 kids or something, 15. But again, that's another 150, 200,000, you know. So again, that's built on. We put the actual numbers below there. Again, what's built in there. And again, when you see VPK at 60, keep in mind we get 0.6 on a kid. So that's running 100 kids, 5 sections like we are this year. That's a 4-year-old preschool program. That's why it's at 60 kids. If you count heads, it's roughly 100. Okay. So ECSE, it's more than 20 kids that we serve, but we get a minimum of a 0.28 for every kid. So it might be 50 kids. I don't know exactly what the math, but again, it's a fair projection. And then our, you know, K-12 is built there again on the FTE. Compensatory is in at the number that the state is saying we'll be at right now. And again, if you listen to legislative, it could change, but I don't know what else to go on with. They put out a run, if you will. Again, there's talk of hold harmless because more districts are losing than we're actually a winner. We lost last year when we were supposed to win, if you recall. So I don't know what else to do other than go with what they have. Again, can it change? Definitely can change. Again, food service, for the most part is, you know, it is holding its own. But again, money generated in food service is not going to help the general fund. And just so you're aware, like they're getting tables or working on, we're going to spend some money. The reserve's growing in food service, which is okay. But let's get some new tables, some equipment. Again, there's plenty, but again, that can't pay for a teacher. You know, it is what it is. Under the expenses, technology, we're keeping student devices in there, but if you look down a ways, we're going to hold back like teacher devices for next year. And it doesn't mean there could be a few that need to be bought, but for the most part, and again, I'm not throwing Jason under the bus or Jill, but we think we can manage a year. You can't go 5 years. You know, devices will, the same with we're removing the bus/SUV line item that we have in, we can do it for a year or so. But again, eventually you can't go 6 years. We'll end up, you know, things piling up. And again, mentioned that the VPK, the Mars, we don't have an exact number, but it's going to bring us up around the 200,000. Yeah. So again, looking at and again, I just added this way. I mean, we're 1.5 in the hole if you go for next year, the projection. And so, obviously, I mean, we're presenting, and from this point forward, it'll keep adjusting, you know, as the legislature adjusts things, as we, you know, find new things. But the challenge is we have to move forward, and we can't run. I don't care if it's $1 million. We can't drop another $1 million. And so we need a starting point for a budget to be approved. And again, it can be revised once, 10 times, whatever. But then the piece that does not necessarily have to be approved, but that I need direction from, is what we want for a target for reductions. Okay. And the process which I would propose would be, we take a target from this meeting. We will continue, meaning when I say we, administration, looking at and coming up with ideas that I would first like to then bring to the finance committee, okay, from the board, to run some things past. Because again, reductions are not fun. They're the toughest thing on morale that there are. But on the other hand, like I say, we can't, well, I shouldn't say can't, you could operate and eat it all. But if you notice, you'll end up roughly around 900,000 in reserve. And again, not enough. And it's still going down a little bit if everything held true. We're hoping we can bring things up a little bit. We have some money, like I said, for online. We're trying to get some of that back. Some of that's built in here. Maybe it's a little more and it'll come up. And so bring it to the finance, assuming that group's okay, then the actual recommendations would come to the board as a whole. Not actual names, but you know, for instance, if we're gonna, and again, we're gonna cut my position half, that recommendation would come to the board. Okay. Okay. Obviously, yeah, if you say a certain position, you may know who it is. If we're cutting, and again, randomly pick some grade, cutting a section, that doesn't have a name attached at that point. We would then go through the stranding process to figure out who it is. And again, same with if there's some para reductions, if there's whatever group you want to go, we would come to the board with, here's our list to make up whatever and get us to that number. Okay, if it's a sport, if it's an extracurricular, if it's a cleaning person, if it's whatever, because everything's on the board, so to speak. And so tonight is to approve this, but then we need a direction of a number. And I guess I will throw it out there. I think we should shoot for 800,000, and I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. I mean, 100,000 is not easy because every position is a person, and but on the other hand, if we don't do everything we can, it has a domino effect, because even if we go for bonds down the road, our bond rating is going to get worse as our reserve is down. And so then it costs more to do that business, you know, and so we need to stay as close as we can to our, you know, our 8%, which we're slightly below already. And so, like I say, maybe we can get to 800, maybe we can't, but that's going to be the board to push on us to bring recommendations. And like I say, the worst thing that could happen, and that's why I want to use the finance committee, if there's a different committee the board would like, is I don't want to bring something and then have it completely turned down, to be honest. You know, because otherwise we'll bring you 2 million worth of reductions, and you know, and that's, I don't think it's admin's job to bring. And again, none of them are going to be popular or what we want. I mean, I want our your class sizes are very nice right now. Our class sizes are very nice right now. But again, class sizes are going to affect. I think admin is going to get affected. I think, you know, everything's going to have to take to a certain extent. So I don't know if you have questions, or like I say, we're not going to get into specifics right now of, hey, I think this position or that, but we need the direction, and we need to kind of move, you know, the process has to be done if we're going to do, depending on who gets reduced, by the end of April for the most part.
So we're 1.5 in the red approximately.
1.15.
1.15. And you're asking for, well, you're recommending an $800,000 cut. And what would be the reason not to do the full cut? Because the cuts would be too deep?
Well, and again, I'm cautiously optimistic that we can come in a little better,
Okay.
you know, because we're even on the, say, the 2.1, you know, that's still settling this year. Now, and again, it could, when I mentioned to Lynn, you know, take like, you know, fuel right now.
Yeah.
It's high. How long things go, so I mean, every cost is not, the, again, 800, 900, gonna be freaking tough and it's gonna hurt. On the flip side, I would feel a little, and again, keep in mind, this is not, we're gonna talk operating levy here probably down the road. But again, we're pulling back 400,000+ right now. So I mean, even if we talked roughly a $500,000 operating levy, that doesn't change anything if we do, I mean, for most part, these cuts, and now you could kind of bring back, like I say, someday you gotta buy a bus again.
Yeah.
Unless we get out of the busing business or something, but then there's costs with outsourcing too. So I mean, it's, you don't want to go too far. And like I say, if we cut 1.15 and all of a sudden things come out better, I mean, obviously that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's not going to come out $1 million swing the other way. I mean, I'll bet my job on it, so to speak. Could it come out a little bit better? Yeah. Could it come out a little bit worse? Yeah. Like I say, and it's, before we, I guess my thought, we're going to cut to the bone, so to speak. But before you really go,
Through the bone.
let's get through this and maybe ask the community what they'll do,
Sure.
And obviously, yeah, wish we'd have seen 5 years ago, coming and, but it just, whether people believe or not. So again, that's the number I'm throwing out. And again, if you say 7, if you say 9, that's where we're going to start coming,
My recommendation is to do the full amount. I think it's for the goal. I think it's a good exercise for the finance committee to really look at everything closely, having just gone through
Okay.
a 4.4.
Oh, yeah. Well-
Project just like this. Maybe we hit it, maybe we don't, but
Yeah, and just, and again, not that it matters. I mean, misery, I'm not gonna say likes, no, but I'm just throwing out, and I shared this with, Lynn earlier. I mean, Rock Ridge 2.7 today came out. Hibbing's, multi-million. Grand Rapids is 1.2. Lake Superior is 600. I mean, you can go down every day. There's a different one in the paper. Then you get into the metro and they're not comparable schools. I mean, when you have 20, 30, but again, there's a ton.
Everybody.
I mean, and, well, I mean, there are some that are not. I mean, there's 4.2 million. Fairbolt is $1 million. Yeah, Moorhead, they did 4 million or something last year and got 4 point something in a levy ongoing. They had to do about 800,000 in adjustments. And again, quite a bit bigger. I don't know exactly, double, triple, but again, Bemidji 2.7. Yeah, I mean, we're not alone. So I mean, like I say, I mean, we can,
yeah, and I have just found that it's a good exercise. Maybe we won't hit it. Like maybe we won't reach the goal of
the only thing I guess the only place I guess I caution a little is, if we do, like I say, 1.2, whatever it is, and then there's 400,000, I'm just throwing a number that's not accepted or done, that becomes public, and I'm just gonna, we're not cutting, we need a tech person, but what I'm getting is some things can't be hit. If we, and that's where it really hurts if we're not gonna actually do it, to put someone out there, because like I say, some things are hidden. If I said we're gonna cut 3 teachers, and I'm just using elementary right now, no one knows who that is.
Could the first thing you report just be the number you think you can reach? No
We
position.
can, but when they get into certain positions, there's only 1 or 2
But
people.
we don't need to hear positions right away.
Okay, I mean, that's,
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, we could take a look at it, like,
And
what
not
your
every-
recommendations are and what that would look like. And what or what it would look like with the 1.15 cut, or 1.2 cut, or whatever it is. We could just look at it and have it through the finance committee, take a look and be like, that's reasonable, that's not reasonable.
yeah, because if it's gonna come to the whole board, because what happens is our next meeting is the first one in
Yeah.
April, which I think we need to approve
Yes.
at that point. Whether we do another meeting in between, I'm just asking the whole board. Because then at the last meeting would be the actual people, and they have to have time to, if it's someone that needs a hearing or whatever to work through. If it's non-continuing contract, it could be later, but if it happens to be someone that has rights, we have to get it done in April. So yeah, we can
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
And again, like I say, as far as I'm concerned, everything is on the table. And that's, yeah, it's not fun.
No. Does that sound reasonable to
Is that
Like,
enough time to
One
come
point
up?
two and leave
Well-
the finance committee and let the finance committee decide from there what is reasonable to bring to us.
Yeah,
Mm.
So Amanda asked if there's enough time. I think,
Figure out
and
who
again,
members are-
well, and
No.
And again, I'm not gonna speak for the group. We're meeting on Thursday. Um, I've worked on a bunch of it. And again, we're gonna need to get behind closed doors and claw and work as a group. And again, they're aware. Yeah, we'll see where we can come. I mean, if we need more time, we'll have to go, but it's not, like I said, we've been working and throwing some ideas around. And unfortunately, like I said, 75 to 80% of education is people. And so unfortunately, you know, and certain things, and I'm just gonna be realistic, you know, you're not gonna cut. You know, cutting food service doesn't do anything for us right now. Yeah, you know, because like I say, that's their own reserved, I mean, if that was going in tanking, different story. But the same thing with, you know, certain activities probably. I mean, I'm just throwing it out. You gonna cut basketball? Probably not. Right? I mean, you know, so I mean, certain things aren't on the table.
Do we
Now,
have a list of
extracurricular-
how many or how much each activity costs for this church?
Yeah, I mean, there's cost to it. And again, there's participation rates and
Yeah.
yeah, everything's up.
That'd be interesting to see how much each costs and how much each generates.
can we
District.
meet as a finance, I mean, I'm just trying to keep this
Yep.
going, but can we meet as a finance committee next Tuesday then? The 31st?
Probably. I can meet this week too.
I can't.
Well, I guess.
Well,
we
we're
meet
not,
Thursday,
we're
yeah.
meeting on Thursday, so sorry, let me just find my calendar.
Sure. Anytime after 9.
Tuesday, the first is, or.
The 31st.
31st.
Yeah.
Cause then that should give us plenty of time to talk out what we're gonna bring to the board on the 7th. Right? That's the right date?
And that gives us time, if we want another finance meeting, we could have another finance meeting.
Is
at
there
the
any
end of the
way you
week.
could do
Sure.
Wednesday or is Wednesday bad?
I can do Wednesday, well.
no
Wednesday's a
one do
little
Mon-
tough.
Oh, wait.
Tuesday's tough for you?
Tuesday, so Monday or Wednesday is better, either.
I can do Monday,
I literally have nothing.
like Monday afternoon,
You tell me, I mean, anything can work on Monday.
4 o'clock, Monday.
Sure.
Does that work? Perfect.
Can I put this out there? I don't know if you had this planned or not, but can we pause on posting any positions until this is through, so we could do reassignments rather than
Yep,
promotions?
and so, and if you'll note, well, certain things have been posted, nothing's been brought to you, such as assistant principal. There's a science position because of possible movement. You'll notice the social worker that resigned, has not been posted. Now, and again, this was even thought about, you know, on the one we hired last week, because it's being, the ADSIS money, you know, it's a 1-for-1. So, I mean, we have the one position in place. We weren't able to fill the one, so that's why we were comfortable last board meeting hiring the position is, for the most part, it's gonna be grant funded. So yeah, I mean, I don't see hiring anything now until, you know, this works its way out.
Everybody okay with the plan? Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second, so all those who move to approve the fiscal year 27 budget, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 8.2 is to accept donations to the school district.
I'll make a motion to accept the following donations. A donation from Taryn Kelly to CMS for Outsiders Day in the amount of $100. Donation from the Blue Line Club to Huddle, for Huddle, in the amount of $4,000. Donation from Brockman, Fieldman, Endowment to CMS for Knowledge Bowl, amount of $4,464. A donation from County Carleton to CMS for suicide prevention in the amount of $500. Total donations today, $9,64.
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or discussion on the donations? Okay, all those in favor of accepting the donations, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 9.0 is payment of claims and accounts.
I'll make the motion to approve the K-12 bills 131,320 through 131,410 in the amount of $425,746.69.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the payment of claims and accounts, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 10.0, we're on to board member comments. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Monday, we had that Lionheart presentation.
Yes.
It was a lot of singing, a lot of some dancing movement, whatever cool stuff. While this guy was up there doing his thing, all the things, he was also painting, which is kind of cool. He moved it around different ways, whatever else. And then at the end, he ended up turning it this way and becomes a lion, right? If you look
Yeah.
at it, so everything has a meaning to it, but he was called he had the heart of a lion. That's why back when he was a kid, that's why he paints, that's all this whole thing came about. The 50 cent came about one time he was singing on a street corner, somebody put 50 cents in a bucket for him, so a lot of things that have different meanings, so, kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
You've ever seen paintings where they turn it one way or the other? For the most part, it was just kind of slapping paint on there and doing different things, but then you turn like this and it looks pretty cool, so. Middle school got one, we got one, and we're gonna put ours in the cafeteria, and so.
Yeah.
Very cool. Every one of the kids that came out thought it was a very good message.
Yeah, I heard it was great.
My juniors and seniors were a little bit like being juniors and seniors
Mhm.
to start with. But then once they came out, they're like, yeah, this was pretty cool. So
Yeah.
it was pretty nice. So, yeah, anyway, I just want to show you that. So that's.
Oh,
all.
thank you.
Oh, very cool.
Cool. All right, Matt, I'll start with you for board member
I don't have
comments.
anything.
Okay, Lindsay?
No comments tonight.
Yeah, Amanda?
I have a few. Did we decide that, school store makeup day was gonna be on the 6th or not, or what has
Oh,
been decided?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Good one, and that was.
Yeah.
The plan right now, cause it is makeup day, we're under hours, and I can't recommend to the board. And it's the senior group that falls under hours. You've had a makeup day. I know you've gotten some emails or communication. It's on the calendar. And so, I mean,
Is there any other day that we could choose besides the Easter weekend?
well, the problem is any day, I mean, that's why you put, just like on next year's
Yeah.
calendar, there's makeup days on there. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. You know, someone said, what about today as the in-service? Well, we had 15 speakers coming this week.
Mm.
People need it for, yeah, you know, same thing. People have things planned. I mean, if, you know, once activities get going, you know, we don't, I mean, I'm just crossing my fingers you don't have another snow day. I mean,
Right.
we're still in March. April's not unheard of to having something.
We had one in May.
And so, I mean, the
Mhm.
only other option I have is even doing graduation. And kids have to come back to turn their books in, you know, seniors, this and that, and they get their diploma that, I mean, we'd still do formal graduation on Friday, whatever the date is, but I don't know how else without having more of a cushion to, you know, I mean, you know, spring sports get, you know, I don't,
That's why we put them in there like that, so that they're known that they
Yeah.
could possibly be made up.
I mean,
So
yeah, I mean,
It's not ideal, but we've had to
it's
do.
not ideal. No, it's
Yeah.
not,
yeah,
but
sorry,
we'll
I
have
forgot
plans,
that
they'll
was
still have
the,
to
I was supposed
do
to
their
have. on the
plans,
list.
Yeah.
miss the day.
So I mean, unless you direct us differently, I mean, I've never went under hours. I mean, theoretically, it's in statute, the number of hours, and I'm guessing you lose pay. I mean, I haven't,
I don't think we should lose pay.
well, I mean, I don't know what else other, you know, like I say, so I mean, I think,
And the seniors are not getting off a week early this year?
no, they get out what, they're done they're done.
3
and The rest of
days.
the kids come back, you know, Monday, Tuesday, or
Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, so yeah, they're.
2.5
done.
days.
But I mean, we can't change graduation.
Yeah,
except
is
Friday.
it just the high school that needs to make up the hours then essentially?
Well, essentially, it's the seniors because like the,
Okay.
because they're out those
Yeah.
3 days before. But again, you know, teachers are short today. I mean, it's just you're contractually, the seniors are the ones that are short hours.
Would the teachers be short their hours or no?
Well,
Contract.
Yeah. Contractually.
everyone needs a work day technically, you know,
So, okay,
so.
because then, like, couldn't the seniors just go one extra day instead of getting 3 days out early? Or no, or is that, you can't do that? You can't
I
just have
mean-
one school go?
I'm not saying you can't, like I say, adjust the calendar, but like I said, what happens? We have another day. you know, we may have to, and I'm just throwing it out, that's the only thing I can come up with is, you know, say we graduated that Friday, would be to say, yeah, we go through Friday, books will be collected, kids will come, seniors on Tuesday, cause isn't that Monday Memorial, I'm guessing?
Yeah,
Um, and then they actually get their formal diploma, you know, they'd all graduate, all look, you know, to make that day up and make them, you know, again, you've lost days in April before, you know, so to not make this one and not plan to have this one,
because if we don't do this one and then we have like April 20th is another snow day, then you're down 2 days. Now what do you do? I think it's not ideal. No, but everybody likes Easter Monday, but to be fair,
It's already there.
it's there and that's why that's why the calendar committee did it.
And I think going forward, and again, every year's different, you know, just like not having, you know, the sophomores, juniors, seniors start, and I know Brian's a fan of it. There's a day, you know, if everyone started not having just the, what do you call freshman, you know,
Yeah.
soft start or whatever, if we would have done that, and I'm just throwing it out, you'd have another day this year. You know, and again, it's a nice way to start, but is it something we want to continue? And again, doesn't have to be solved tonight, but things like that so that we have a couple cushion
Yeah.
or having some later makeup days, you know, in May or so, you know, somehow. But I,
If people have travel plans, do your travel plans.
Mhm.
I
That's
mean,
why they
it's
have
Easter
the-
Monday and but that's not technically a holiday for maybe a
lot of
bank,
people-
but I'm not real sure.
I have
And
no idea.
it's not like Christmas Eve or something like that. I think it is what it is. It's a day that we can have school and we should have school.
That's why good, the committee talks about it and then they vote on it and talk about it and then bring it to us. I think it's already been kind of.
It's already been vetted.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next thing I have is just bringing up, the Family Resource Center. The contract I think is renewed in September. Just throwing it out there. I don't think we should renew it. We should look at that. It was maybe mentioned for using it for the district at a meeting recently, and I think that's a good idea.
I didn't hear what you said. Why?
Oh, the Family Resource Center,
Yeah,
not renewing their contract in September
why?
to use it maybe for a temporary level 4 facility. Or literally use it for the district to help the district more than to help other.
You mean use the space?
Yeah, use the space, and not renew the contract. They don't generate any revenue. I mean, it's good for the community, yes. But we also need a place for the students. So I wanted to throw that out there now
Yeah.
before September. That's what I have. Also with the busing, I think we really should look at kids close to the school,
on the,
not riding buses.
and I think that's a long term, you know, and
Oh, yeah, but I don't
Looking
feel like
at-
we're
I
gonna
mean-
hire a lot of bus drivers because
No,
we
but I
haven't been
think-
able to.
I think, you know, in asking the community to support something, that may be, you know, we don't have to, I mean,
Mhm.
technically 2 miles from the district,
Yeah.
from the buildings. But maybe putting something together, figuring out what it would do, you know, if we went a
Mhm.
half-mile radius, and again, each elementaries are different than high school and so on. But we can look at what we think we
Yeah.
can save, you know, no different than, there's a variety of things that,
Yeah.
you know, from 4-day school week to, you know, reducing more activity, you know,
Yep.
and everything's good.
Mhm.
That's the tough part. It's not that we don't support staff, programs, everything, but we're gonna need some help.
Mm.
Long term, if we keep everything as is.
Yeah, just wanted to bring those things to attention. That's all.
Does that become an equity thing, like no rural buses if we exclude people?
No, you're not gonna do no, you know, like I say, I think you can get by on certain days doing remote stops, but
But I mean,
statute, you
No,
have to
there's
transport
not, you
within
can't.
2 miles
Mhm.
of school. But that being said, certain grade levels, like I'm gonna say, pointing at this elementary, I don't think to cross this highway, that age, they would say, no, that even if it's within your 2 mile distance,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to go for that group of kids. Now, high school kids, you can probably go 2 miles and we're
Sure.
not transporting anything. But again, that becomes a bigger conversation of, you know, or maybe go a mile or a half mile.
Like a stretch in this weather,
Yeah.
but-
And it would reduce, you know,
It would, I
With
think it would reduce a
transportation.
lot.
well, but again, it puts more on families. Now, are families willing to step up and help where we need help? Maybe that continues.
But if we change the rules, they really don't have a choice.
No, they don't, but I would rather ask the community for some more help, like you don't have an operating levy.
Yeah,
You know, ask for some help, and if not,
then this is
These are
what
the
we have to
changes
do,
that we
okay.
have to make.
I get where I'm at.
Yeah,
board has the final say.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. That's all I got.
Holly? Okay, I don't have anything either. Thank you for the donations, just second, or reiterate that, but the next meeting of the Board of Education is scheduled, oh, I thought it was the 7th, my bad, it's April 13th, 2026, 5:30 in this room. So 12.0 is to adjourn the regular meeting, and I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or discussion on adjourning?
Mhm.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
I-
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everybody.